look cold, all the leaves fell off. Maybe I should give them my sweater. The flowers say, hey, where's the sun today? As if I determine the weather. Yeah, the world's got its worries. Life's got us all in a hurry. Stuck on a loop, overthinking all of our pain. It's okay to frown, smile upside down. Feeling kinda blue in the sky right now. No way, not gonna work it out. It's a feeling that I'm having and I'll have it right now. It comes and goes away in time. My scars will fade. The look that's on my face is temporarily upside down. It's okay to frown. Cruising on a cloud like an ocean wave. Don't feel bad, but better. Falling to the ground like November rain. Sinking like a brick, but I'm light as a feather. The world's got its worries. Life's got us all in a hurry. Stuck on a loop, overthinking all of our pain. It's okay to frown, smile upside down. Feeling kinda blue in the sky right now. No way, not gonna work it out. It's a feeling that I'm having and I'll have it right now. It comes and goes away in time. My scars will fade. The look that's on my face is temporarily upside down. It's okay to frown.
Good morning. The weather forecast today is showing a slight chance of sunshine and sadness. It's another perfect day to not feel that perfect.
It's okay to frown, smile upside down. Feeling kinda blue in the sky right now. No way, not gonna work it out. It's a feeling that I'm having and I'll have it right now. It comes and goes away in time. My scars will fade. The look that's on my face is temporarily upside down. It's okay to frown.
We almost went into a song that was not stream friendly, which is a problem. Oh my fucker. Okay, sorry. I was checking something. Anyway, it's been a second since I've done something like this. Yeah. So, we ready? Let's talk about the Prime Rifters. Welcome to my horrible setup, but I hope this is at least enough to look at so that you get ideas. But yes, let's talk about the Prime Rifters, everyone, because that's something. I'm gonna go over everything, I promise. I'm gonna change the song. I'm sorry, but I haven't streamed in so long. I miss this song. That's Oh Hellos. I need stream-friendly music. Here we go. Alright. Well, that's sad. Alright, so first off, let's start with the basics. What the fuck is this? So, for those of you who are out of the loop, what's a Prime Rifter? Thank you, Sarah. Ninny Sarah to Ninny. You're great. Alright. So, starting off with the basics. What is the Prime Rifters? And what the fuck is this about? So, for those of you who do not know, there is a podcast called Just Roll With It, created by Charlie Slamsicle, Bisley Channel, Grizzly Plays, and Conda Fiction. Where this all comes in is that they have a Patreon campaign called Just Roll With It Prime Defenders. It's very cool. It's all about superheroes and stuff. It's awesome. It's great. I don't have a script for this. I have general notes in my mind and on paper a bit, so this is going to be a little scatterbrained, but I hope that this can get information out. So, what are the Prime Rifters? They are, to read my specific description that I gave to the DM, for those of you who are curious, the Prime Rifters, if I can scroll and find it enough, I should have grabbed this earlier. Okay. The Prime Rifters consist of 3 teenage heroes, Portalgeist, Valence, and Sleepyhead. They are made as a deliberate replacement for the Prime Defenders after they went AWOL and left New Haven. From what we had written fairly soon after the Prime Defenders left New Haven and broke away from the roles as semi-pro heroes, the Prime Rifters were put together as a team to fill in the gap left by them. That is the quickest example of what they are. So, let's start from the beginning of everything. Outside of their story, where this all began. About a year ago, December, near Christmas, 2021. So, this all started with Valence, who I can bring up the ref because I got this on download. I got this ready for this. So, this all started with Valence, who is created, oh god, who is a character created by Riley Minkaru. So, Valence was the first character made. Valence is a hero who is basically based around alchemical reactions and science and changing in the periodic table. Valence was the first, who was created probably, I think, December 21st? I think. Anyway, next came Portalgeist, who is my guy. And Portalgeist came after. Portalgeist is just a little superhero whose whole thing is teleporting in portals. You could tell because his name was Portalgeist. Why are these images so big? So this is Portalgeist. He's my guy. Alright? Yes, this is my boy. And now, after that, came Sleepyhead. So, Sleepyhead was made by Ninny, who is currently in chat. Was made by Ninny. This is who I am talking about when I say the Prime Rifters. They are a group of fan-made superhero OCs for the Just Roll With It Prime Defenders. What if I was sorry, I got a notification. Thank you, Town of Clowns, for following. They are all made as fan OCs for this Just Roll With It D&D campaign-ish. The campaign is played in Mutants and Masterminds, so it's not actually D&D, but you get the point. So, these characters were some of the first Prime Defenders OCs made, and because of this, a lot of Prime Defenders OCs started coming and being made and popping up out of the blue. And it all started with these three, which is still very cool. I think it's awesome. Now, if we flash forward about 6 months, a fan artist not really a fan artist, more an artist within the community who does a lot of art for Just Roll With It, Wyvern, made a post about all their different OCs for the different campaigns that are run within Just Roll With It. Both Grizzly, the DM for Riptide, their main campaign, and Bisley saw this, Bisley being the DM for Prime Defenders. They saw this and said, hey, we're making your OCs canon, that'd be fun. And someone who I personally did not follow at the time, but I think Riley and Ninny follow, and that's on me. I bring this up because, from my point of view, it was someone I did not know, and that's what made it wild. They responded to Bisley's tweet saying, when is this going to happen with the Prime Rifters? Because the Prime Rifters were some of the first OCs made with Prime Defender Supersonas or whatever. And Bisley then responds, who are the Prime Rifters? And I DM him, or message him just saying, they're a bunch of OCs and fan-made OCs. And he says basically, DM me. Which is wild. Noanex, yes, that's who. So I DM Bisley information on Portalgeist, Sleepyhead, and Valence, and then 4 months later, in episode 19 of season 2 of Just Roll With It Prime Defenders, they are mentioned first explicitly in canon, and it is still something I have trouble processing. Like, it happened last Wednesday, but I still can't process that my OC is canon, which is wild. Anyways, so This is not just talking about the history of how they got here. I'm talking about their lore, their things, because guess what? They got stories. And that's some of the nerdiest things I've ever said, is that I have made, like, OC lore, and then my OCB became canon. It's like, this is so fucking nerdy, and I know it. But I've come to the realization, because of partially a lot of the comments on the Patreon, and also because of a lot of people on Twitter, people don't know the Prime Defender, well, people don't know the Prime Rifters, like, good and truly. Like, no one really knows their story besides me and a few other friends, because we don't talk about it as much. So, I am now going to tell you a bit more about their history, but specifically about Portalgeist, because I do have more info on Portalgeist than Sleepyhead and Valence. I'm gonna read out our little bios, I think, excluding their real names, because here's your fun fact, I only just recently revealed Portalgeist's name. You can go find it. It's very easy. It's on a special place. It's on a very, very special place. Anyway, so Portalgeist's name has been revealed, but that's for you to go find. It's definitely not on the Just Roll With It wiki. Anyway, so, starting with our little bios that we sent to Bisley, which are a good way to introduce you to the character. Portalgeist is a teleportation hero. He first came into getting his powers through an accident with experimental wormhole technology, which almost took his life at the age of 12. Rather than being split into atoms, Portalgeist was given the ability to teleport and create small purple portals. Mutants and Masterminds-wise, he has powers that pull from teleportation. He is now 18 years old and lives with his friend Valence. Valence is a hero whose powers are based on the periodic table of elements. I don't know if Riley wants me to... I'm just gonna read it, I'm sorry. After an accident in their father's basement lab when they were 14, they were bombarded with radiation of all lights and colors. Afterward, their powers manifested in the form of set colors, each corresponding to the elemental groups. Red represents acids and their only healing ability, orange is metal-based, yellow is gas-based and minor atom manipulation, green is light-based and their most common power, cyan is radiation and their least common power, blue is combustion-based, purple is electricity-based, and magenta is a mix of all the powers. While being the oldest of the Rifters at 19, they are arguably the most hot-headed. They currently live with Portalgeist. Sleepyhead is a dream/sleep hero and illusion-based hero, more used to using her powers for less violent means. Not to say he renounces it entirely, it's just not his strong suit. He specializes in evacuating bystanders, distractions, intel gathering, and most importantly, being the heart of the team, and also the face. He does most public appearances, and is a New Haven Hero Academy poster child. She's not great in combat, but she can dodge and evade at the best of times. They're naive, impulsive at times, stupidly kind, and intensely loyal. Basically, you're just average, starry-eyed young hero. So, that's the basics. Let's talk about Portalgeist in depth, because that's the boy who I can talk about in depth. We're gonna start from the beginning. So, Portalgeist grew up in a town outside of New Haven. I have jokingly said this is Arkansas. I don't... We'll get into it. I've jokingly said that he is from Arkansas, but, he's just from a small town outside of New Haven, and the name of which does not matter. Yes, Portalgeist killed Arkansas. We'll get into it. So, his parents were named Declan and Renee Abbott, and I'll just say his name here. His name is Alistair Abbott. Declan Abbott was a theoretical physicist and the head of a project in the now defunct Friesman Labs. This project being opening up a wormhole, seeing if they can harness the power of interspatial transport, aka now you're working with portals. Why did I say portals like that? Why am I saying portals? Now you're working with portals. So, during this experiment, the day of launch when it was supposed to be opened up, Declan Abbott brought his kid, Portalgeist, Alistair, to the experiment site. and Alistair being an incredibly curious kid. Fucking incredibly curious. This kid is fucking so, for a little guy. Yes, we have Portal by Valve, Atomic Skittles, and a bag of sand. There they are. Portal by Valve, Atomic Skittles, and sand. Anyway, so Portalgeist, being a very curious kid, snuck away from his father when the launch was about to happen, when they were supposed to open up the portal, and went close to the portal, and before his father could notice and shut it down safely, he noticed his kid was right next to where the fucking wormhole was supposed to open. And so he decided to shut it down. But we were past the point of where it could be shut down safely and stable, and, still be stable. So it fucking exploded. And leveled a lot of the town. Or at least destroyed a lot of the infrastructure of the town. Declan died, most of the scientists died, and technically, Portalgeist should have died. Like I mentioned, he did not die, rather, a little bit of that wormhole stuck in him, as I like to say. To this day, he still has massive burn scars and blast scars on his back that almost seem to swirl if you look at them. Little ways that he's not so human anymore because of this is that he has dark purple eyes that have more so slit cat pupils. He has... I call it purple blood, but it's not blood. He has something else in his system that is not blood, but is closer to antimatter. That which makes up the portals. So, basically, his portals are his blood. Portal blood, whatever the fuck. His powers are very biological. But, after this, Portalgeist and his mother moved in to a small town called Rockfall when he was 12. And this is where, let's see if the image will go to it. This is where Portalgeist met someone named Summer. Yeah, I guess. So Summer is a NPC a lot of people know from Prime Defenders, who appeared in the first season as a joke in the first episode, but has later developed into her own character. Portalgeist first met, this is where Portalgeist first met Summer, and they became close childhood friends. Pretty much growing up alongside each other. They've known each other since before Portalgeist came out, because Portalgeist is transgender. He's a trans man. Good for him. Good transgender rep. Look at my boy. Anyway. So, this is where he met Summer, grew up alongside her, and they went to the same college, high school, this being Centurion High. So, if you ever want to imagine anything in Season 1 of Prime Defenders, in the background where you can see Summer talking to someone who they never mention, you can just imagine it being Portalgeist. Because that's what I do. I want it, I should say this is the most self-indulgent shit ever. And, super nerdy. This is so fucking nerdy. I usually am I don't talk about this, but then also, this is pretty fucking big for me. So, a while after Portalgeist got his powers, he was contacted by Watch, because obviously this dude leveled a town. It could be Arkansas. Who knows? This portal experiment leveled a town, and ever since he's basically been on watch by Watch. And later on he was contacted by Watch saying, would you like to become a superhero to work for us? And he was like, I mean, sure, maybe. And so he is now a superhero under the name of Portalgeist. That's my boy. To which, during one of his first meetings and first outings as a hero, he met Valence and Sleepyhead. So, during this, if I remember correctly, Valence and Portalgeist didn't get along a lot recently. They had a lot of, in the beginning, they had a lot of clashing views. Portalgeist doesn't want to kill. Valence is like, we gotta do what we gotta do. And so they had a bit of a falling out, if I remember correctly, but that's a lot of stuff that we haven't fleshed out much. We haven't talked a lot about before the research into Dr. Immortal. So, this falls in around senior year of their time at Centurion High. They're acting as heroes, at least for a little while now, and Portalgeist and the Prime Rifters are assigned to look into something having to do with synthetic flesh. And they end up finding a man named Dr. Amir, who ends up becoming a villain named Dr. Immortal. Blah blah blah. Now, I don't know the specifics of everything, because this is a lot of stuff that I was told by Bisley of like, hey, what if we make this canon? So, some of the stuff could be talked about in the next episode, I don't know. But, through this process, they end up meeting and, kind of redeeming a villain at the time named Inferno. This guy being Doug, the fucking mascot at their high school. Which is funny as hell. As you can see, there he is! There's Doug! He's the one in the little varsity jacket and the massive burn scar on his face. Jump scare. Anyway, so they end up meeting. Doug, Summer's probably like pushing like, you guys are heroes and like, I'll be safe, I'll be fine, just let me come help, because Summer does not have any powers and Alistair did not tell Summer that he had powers because that's a problem. Anyways, so, I say that so much, I'm sorry. Anyway. They end up having a confrontation with Dr. Immortal, which leaves everyone badly hurt and damaged. To the point where Summer and Doug are both on the last legs of their life. But luckily, because this guy is named Dr. Immortal and his whole business is dealing with living forever and putting your soul in different bodies to live on forever, and no one never really knows that it's a different person because it's a different body. It's that whole concept. There's only enough synthetic flesh left after the fight with Dr. Immortal to bring one of them back to full life and full safety. And yeah, this has to be picked and chosen by the Prime Rifters. So it's either Portalgeist picks his childhood friend, who it's probably his fault gets brought into this whole thing, because if anyone's gonna vouch for her to come do hero stuff, it's gonna be him. Or Doug, who just got a new lease on life and still has things he needs to work on, but can still be a better person. And in the end, they choose Summer. And through this, Summer gets powers, I suppose. It's fun! Yay! Synthetic flesh! Gumby! And Doug is left without working legs and massive burn scars across his body. Which is fun. I've been thinking about these guys for 4 months straight, because I have known since the beginning that the Prime Rifters were going to be friends with Summer. And then Bisley was like, I have an idea. What if they were there on the night when the Prime Rifter stopped Dr. Immortal? Because we were also a problem. We were also a solution to a problem. A plot hole of, hey, what the fuck happened with the synthetic flesh? You got so caught up in sewer ravioli that nothing got explored with the synthetic flesh. So we were another way to solve that problem. Look at us filling plot holes. We are a plot hole device. So, in the end, they put Summer in the new body, and Doug just has to live like that, and it fucking sucks. It hurts. Oh. And as described by Bisley, after this whole instant, the Prime Rifters, to quote him, left through a portal. Hello. Welcome back. So, they left through a portal. And Yes, it was a rift. Sorry, they left through a rift and are in a location that is unknown currently. And the reason why I bring this up is because we don't know. As in Riley, Nini, and I do not know. We don't know where they are. In canon, I have no fucking clue where they are, and the worst part about this is that the whole mantra in my mind is that they were replacing the Prime Defenders because they went AWOL, and now they are AWOL out somewhere. So until it is possibly retconned by Bisley, in my mind, they're in the spirit world right now. Why? Because they probably have also figured out some shit with demons and are like, hey, this is weird. Well, fuck, let's try and find the bottom of this. And, Portalgeist, being a guy who is literally named after a ghost, thinks of himself as half-dead, is technically half-dead, can bring them to the spirit realm. Yay! Fun! So I'm assuming that they're there for now. And that is what's within the canon of Prime Defenders. But that is not all the story of the Prime Rifters, because, like I told you, there's a large period in between their creation and when Bisley first told us that they were going to be canon. That is a 6-month period of, number one, where Apotheosis was happening, where there was no Prime Defenders content. So, what do we do with our boys, with our characters? We're like, haha, let's go be silly. What happens is we write our own story, and this all starts around 2 other characters, well, 3 technically, who I have not mentioned, because so far I've only talked about the canon of Prime Defenders. These 2 characters are Sunset, made by Ambrosia, who some of you may know, and Seraph, made by Willow Tree March on Twitter. There is also a character who I, for a brief moment, considered telling Bisley about and saying, hey, that's probably where the Prime Rifters are, because, spoiler alert, they're never going to be played or show up in canon because Bisley doesn't want to act as them wrong or portray them differently. So I briefly thought about mentioning to him about a character named Thaumaturge, who is a big crux of what I'm going to talk about. So, after a while, Nini, sorry, I just saw Nini's name in chat and got confused. Okay, Sleepyhead moves in with Seraph, who is a retired hero. Yes, Nini themselves moves in with Seraph. Sleepyhead moves in with Seraph, and they live in an apartment on a fucking street called Maypickle Avenue. The reason for this is because they couldn't decide whether they wanted it to be Maple or Pickle. So, Maypickle Avenue. They live on an apartment there. And Sunset, who is a vigilante, was recently contacted by someone in their past who had kind of been a bitch. A bitch. Let's be honest. He was a bitch and was horrible, and caused Sunset to be Sunset, who they are to this day. If that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway. Thaumaturge contacts Sunset, and they have a chat at a cafe, and then the cafe explodes. It's bad. It's real bad. Where the Prime Rifters come into this is that a bitch is a bit of an understatement. You're correct, Nini. You are correct. Where the Prime Rifters, or at least Portalgeist, come into this is that an explosion happened at Maypickle Avenue. The apartment complex was destroyed. Because the Prime Rifters are friends with Seraph. No, are friends with Sunset. They are friends with Seraph, but they're friends with Sunset, and he's like, I'm gonna be a bitch and blow up your home. So, Maypickle Avenue was destroyed. And the Prime Rifters tried contacting Sleepy, to which Sleepy responded, there are people in danger, and I need to help. We get there, Portalgeist is helping let people out of the burning building, helping get people to safety, and then after they know everyone is safe, Valence and Portalgeist go looking for Sleepyhead and find them in an alleyway with Seraph in their arms, crying because Seraph is unconscious. And it fucking wrecked me. So then Seraph goes to the hospital, gets patched up, and is doing better. I'm like trying to remember all this off the top of my head because I'm like some of this is slipping my mind, but it's okay. So later on, CCTV footage is hacked onto live television across all of New Haven, showing a then changeling, not Sunset, changeling, killing a man whose name and face are redacted. Through a massive supernova, much like the one at the cafe that exploded, Sunset is seen killing a man. So they go and talk to Sunset and saying, hey, what the fuck was this? And it was like, that was when I was younger. This man is using and manipulating me. That is the guy who blew up your home. Let's lurk for now. That is fair. You're fine with lurking. It is alright. So Sunset's like, hey, this guy is destroying my life again because I left his entourage or whatever. And in the description of this video, and I will grab the link to that right now, there is a recording of a reading of what happened, read by me and Ambrose, of what happened during that CCTV footage, which is fun, and I'm grabbing that because I keep it privated. So if you want to see the video, you can save this. Yeah, left his emo band, but it's also in the description where I will leave that. Sorry, I burped. It's also in the description if you're interested on that. So, the Prime Rifters try and seek out where this guy is, to which they end up getting the help of some other heroes, including Lucky 13, and Lollipop and Printer, just a few other ones to name. And they end up going on a road trip to find out where this all happened. Sunset and Portalgeist share a nice little moment, in an illusion of Sunset's hometown, because Sunset's powers are illusions. I feel like I forgot to mention that. So they share a little illusory look into Sunset's hometown, which is one of the coolest moments. I really enjoyed that. But then they go on a road trip. Off this road trip, there's so much chaos that happens. Specifically, they go to a bread museum, and then it's run by a guy, who then they go to another bread museum, and it's run by the same guy. It was all a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it, because it was just so fucking silly and stupid, and I enjoyed it so much. And then we got to the building where everything happened. It is ruined, but abandoned. And we walk inside, and it's the same as the day that Sunset ended up killing this man, who none of us know the name of yet. So we go inside, we look around, and eventually in the top floor, everyone finds keys of their past that they've never told anyone. Specifically with Portalgeist, he found a book that his father co-authored about theoretical physics, which is fun because he hadn't even told Valence or Sleepyhead his name. I feel like I need to mention that Sleepyhead and Valence do not know Portalgeist's name. They do not know him as Alistair Abbott. He has never told them his name. And Sleepyhead has not told everyone their name, and Minkaroo and Valence has not told everyone their name. But they all find things that link them directly to their own history. Yes, Riley Minkaroo is real now. Minnie's real, Riley Minker's real. But they all find stuff that links them to their own past, and everyone ends up leaving just very stressed and scared because it's like, this guy who we didn't know now knows everything about us. To which Sunset warns that is the danger of Thaumaturge. He finds your information and uses you. Which is fun! Yay! So this all ended up accumulating in finding the location of this guy whose name had been redacted. Up until this moment, his name is Jack. I'll tell you all that. His name's Jack. But even during our like telling of this story, we just referred to him as redacted. But Thaumaturge makes an announcement saying that there will be one final showdown and that everyone who had been there on that day when they found those things upstairs were all invited to take place in a massive battle for the ages. Which was just Thaumaturge's way of saying, hey bitch, I'm back! So everyone gets prepared, they get, like, plans ready, they find the location, have strategies prepared, and Thaumaturge is there in the middle of a field. As they get closer, he begins to tell them that he's happy that they're there for his show. You know, because he's a bastard. I feel like I haven't noticed that much, like, Thaumaturge blew up a building. Like, manipulated Sunset, broke into other people's privacy. It's like, Thaumaturge's not a good person. And to put this into point, he brought out a massive metal egg, basically. A massive rocket ship egg sort of thing, out of which broke out Jack. The guy Sunset killed. Still alive. With bandages over his eyes, and clearly taken in by Thaumaturge. And so the battle commences, and it's fun, and we have to get off the ground, and there's danger and everything, and the way it all ends is that Sunset is able to undo his programming. Undo Jack's programming. And Jack is a normal human, but just like, I'm using, yes, Seraph gets stuck under a tree. I'm using programming in the term of, like, mental programming. Seraph is able to undo that. Not Seraph, Sunset. Fuck. He's able to undo that and help get Jack out of Thaumaturge's control. I should note, Thaumaturge was an illusion in the center. Like, he was there talking, but, like, it also wasn't him. Thaumaturge is that much of a bitch. And in the end, we end up getting Jack safe and back. But Thaumaturge is still being dealt with, because it's like he wasn't there, and we still gotta fucking deal with this dude. So they end up finding him at a casino. And they have to do the coolest fucking thing ever, and I love it. They have to go undercover at this casino, because it's run by superheroes, and run by, like, super people. They have to go in and try and find information on Thaumaturge, because that was his last known location, without him finding out. Which is fun! All the kids, because I should obviously note that Portalgeist and Sleepyhead and Valence, not so much Valence, they are all still kind of very young. Like, they are some of the youngest of everyone in the story. They are just kids. So they are in a hotel away with Seraph and Axolotl, who is someone from Sunset's old hero team they used to be on. They're away from all this, from the action, waiting and watching. Until a gun is trained on someone inside the casino and they have to get everyone out. To which, you know, Portalgeist, being the portal dude, has to get everyone out. So he goes out into the actual casino, like outside of it, gets a portal ready to help transport people out because, you know, someone is about to get shot. It is a problem. So they have to go and make sure everyone's safe, but they get the information they need on Thaumaturge's whereabouts and who he's working with. The thing is that this story is still kind of going on a bit more, so I don't have much information for you after that, because we don't know much about afterwards, because that's still being uncovered. Shout out to when everyone starts interposing when the gun goes off instead of getting out. Yes! You know that, like, image of all these people, like, of, like, two guys, one guy, two guys who were in, like, the background, and then one person who's holding a gun at them, and then one person, like, dodges in front of that person, and the person behind them dodges in front of them, and they're all like, no! And it's like, you just end up in, like, a human I don't know if I'm describing it, but basically, like, everyone kept self-sacrificing so that no one would get shot except for them, and then everyone kept doing that. So, yes. That's in the end what happens. So that is all I have on, like, what in the story of the Prime Rifters has happened so far. I do plan on getting a document written out fully of Portalgeist and his story, that I will share eventually to have more detail on some of the things that I don't know yet, because some of the stuff I don't know is being revealed in the podcast, which is insane to me. Like, just to boil all this down, that's like, this is the wildest thing. So, to round this all off, just here at 40 minutes, I want to say thank you to Bisley for allowing this to happen, for, like, making this an actual reality, because Willow! Hi, Willow! Thank you for following. Oh my god, I just realized that my alerts are behind my overlay. Hang on a second. Hang on. Oh my, that's why I couldn't see anything. It's because my alerts are below everything. Oh. Anyways. Why are the ads so long? Hi. I don't know why they're so long. I don't know why. I haven't even gotten money from Twitch. I don't know why there are ads, but I'm so sorry. Little thing, the events of Prime Defender's Supersonic canon and Prime Defender's canon are probably very different because we just kind of went off where there was no content being made or confirmed. Very true. Thank you, Nitty. If it helps, we all stopped off at around episode 12 of season 2. That was around when, the big hiatus happened and Prime Defenders was gone for half a year. So we worked with that knowledge. But yet again, I would like to give a thank you to Bisley for allowing me to do the commission you see on screen, which is that Polaroid right there, for allowing me to talk about this sort of stuff, and for making the Prime Rifters canon into Prime Defenders. It's an awesome opportunity. Thank you for letting this be a thing, and hopefully I can make a more cohesive write-up of everything in Portalgeist's story, because, you know, there are people who don't even know about, like, Portalgeist at all, or the Prime Rifters at all, which is what I have learned from the Patreon comments, because it went from a small group of people on Twitter knowing about the Prime Rifters in concept, and, like, knowing a bit about their characters, to thousands of people on Patreon watching an episode where Summer hands William and Dakota and Vincent a Polaroid with them all in one photo, saying they call themselves the Prime Rifters. Which is a fucking line that my friends and I have been going insane about. It's so simple. But this is very surreal. It's insane that this has happened. Like, this is something very cool. Hopefully I get to do more stuff like this. Hopefully I get to do more art for Just Roll With It in the future, because I really enjoyed this. But I hope this was... Oh my god, yeah. I forgot that Charlie Slimeskull said Prime Rifters. Rift? Like Fortnite? I forgot that Charlie Slimeskull said that we were like fucking Fortnite. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope we get more information this week with Wednesday's episode. And I hope you all enjoy hearing about the Prime Rifters, because they're my babies, and I love them, and I've told my parents about this. Like, I have to preface that's, like, I have genuinely told my parents about that I got a commission from a podcast that I've been following for a while, and that my characters that I had made for the show as, like, a fun thing were now being made canon. Tell my mama about them. Yes, I told all my parents, and, like, my sister was like, send me a photo of the commission because she knows about Just Roll With It, and I was like, it was a very big thing for me, and it still is a very big thing. I've kept this secret and this knowledge of, like, yeah, Doug is now confined to a wheelchair, and half of his face has a massive burn scar. One of his eyes is gone, which, by the way, that was my doing. I was just given the description of what Doug looked like, and then, like, he's in a wheelchair, and he has a massive burn scar that was across his face. That was pretty much about all I got. And then Bisley was like, holy shit, wait, you've done a Doug design, go with that one. So then my Doug design that I made earlier was made canon, which is very cool. But Doug having the blanked out eye was my doing. It wasn't something that Bisley told me to do. It was just something I was like, ha, that's fun. But this is all a very cool experience, being able to do this. Being able to see my characters in canon, like, this is wild. And, like, I don't want to say anything, because it may not happen. But there's a chance that one of my guys will be mentioned in Riptide as well. And it wasn't even my doing. But that's all I will say on that, because I don't know if it'll happen. So, there's that. My influence is everywhere. This is just also very surreal. Like, it's wild. I think the fact that Undertale is playing right now, Undertale from Undertale, is making me more surreal about this. Because this is such a cool thing for me. It's like, it's so wild. Like, I'm looking at all this art that is now, like looking at the 3 photos that are flashing on the screen, it started with this one, which I am eventually going to redraw, because, you know, I've improved, and now it's come to this. It's come to an actual commission from Just Roll With It, which is insane to me, which is so cool. But I hope this serves as a good resource for at least the information on the Prime Defenders and the Prime Rifters. There's some stuff that I don't know and I can't really fill in because it is stuff that I'm learning by watching the actual podcast. To sum it all up, what I know and what we know, as in the Prime Rifters group chat, what we know is that Summer and Doug work with the Prime Rifters. At least in part, in this one instance of dealing with Dr. Amir. And now we know more in depth that afterwards of this incident, the Prime Rifters left and will hopefully be back. Because it's a whole thing. But yeah, I think that's about all I got for this. Thank you for tuning in. I got a little emotional hearing my starting soon music because I haven't heard it in so long. I haven't streamed in so long. But I hope you enjoyed, because I enjoyed. And I hope you enjoyed the Prime Rifters. And if you haven't already, please be sure to watch Just Roll With Its Patreon campaign, Prime Defenders, if you want to see my little guy being real and canon, because that's actually something that's going on. So thank you, and goodbye.